King James Version, Genesis 1:21. Reason why I want to come to this is because I'm talking about creatures. I love animals. But let's get into it. I'm not here for entertainment. I'm here for the facts. And God said, let the water teem with living creatures, and let birds fly above the earth across the vault of the sky. So God created the great creatures of the sea, and every little thing on which the water teems, and the moves about in it, according to their kinds, and every winged bird according to its kind. And God saw that it was good. And God blessed them and said, be fruitful and increase in the number, and fill the water and in the seas, and let the birds increase in the earth. And there was evening, and there was morning, the fifth day. And God said, let the land produce living creatures according to their kinds, the livestock, the creatures that move along the ground, and the wild animals, each according to its kind. And so it was so. The creatures that move along the ground, and the wild animals, each according to its kind, and it was so. And God made all the animals according to their kinds, the livestock according to their kinds, and all the creatures and that move along the ground according to their kinds. And God saw that it was good. Then God said, let us make mankind in our image and our likeness, so that they may rule over the fish in the sea and the birds in the sky, over the livestock and all the wild animals, and over all the creatures that move along the ground. So God created mankind in his own image. In the image of God, he created them. Male and female, he created them. And God blessed them and said to them, be fruitful and increase in numbers. Fill the earth and subdue it. Rule over the fish in the sea and the birds in the sky, and over every living creature that moves on the ground. Then God said, I give you every seed-bearing plant or face of the whole earth, and every tree that fruit will seed in it. They will be yours for food, and all the beasts of the earth, and all the birds in the sky, and the creatures that move along the ground. Everything that was a breath of life in it, I give every green plant for food. And it was so. God saw all he had made, and it was very good. And there was evening, and there was morning, the sixth day. L's Holy Torah by Malachi Z. York. Cuniform, angel writing by scribes. Where did Gaia get their information from? Why they won't bring out or let Dr. Malachi Z. York free? Why? Recreation of whales and dinosaurs. Early Earth was composed of gases, ammonia, methane, and water. The cooling of the Earth and the subsequent falling of the vapor rings allowed these gases to reach the water that were upon the Earth. The exposure of the ultraviolet rays from the sun caused the gases to form simply organic molecules, which formed larger molecules until protein was formed. It was the formation which resulted in the prototype of the living cell 46 billion years ago. The stage of creation, the first cell in the lab of Shemtu, was located on Mars. This cell or cells were then placed inside of Vulcan, a Malkian deity, dolphin, whose real name is Hoot. It was these cells that were transplanted and transported in the seas of the planet. This transportation involved the development of the first animals 24 billion years ago. After these were the single-celled organisms known as protozoa. Proto meaning first in time, and zoo meaning animals. The first single-celled animal to originate was the amoeba, The next group of animals were the metazons. 24 trillion years after the metazons are composed of tissues and organs and system. These animals multiplied and diversified, and over a period of 19 million years evolved into many types of creatures and animals. This was the first creation of life on the planet Earth. They were all destroyed by the Ice Age and volcanoes, earthquakes, war, and bloodshed between the tribes and Earth. Even beings as Maldikians and Vulcans, who lived beneath Tamtu, Earth. One of the original names of the planet Tamtu, Earth, was called Tamu by the Anunnaki, named after the wife of Apsu, parents of Anshar, and Kishar, parents of Anu and Akhenaten. The Maldikians came to this planet and took residence under the seas. From Maldik, the 11th planet ruled by the Draconians, or dragon people, called reptilians or Luciferians, Haladians. So Tamtu, or Tam, the water planet, was destroyed 17,250,000 years ago. The second creation or repopulation after the large meteorite hit 250 million years ago consisted of two types of survivors: the prehistoric amphibians, animals, and the intelligent prehistoric man called Tamtuians. The intelligent prehistoric man survived because he was instructed by the elders, the Elohim, and those that listened survived to go underground into shelters. This is where they survived until the temperature became suitable and the air was clean to return to the surface. Sounds like Noah. And the Elohim Anunnaki procreated the old dragon sea serpent, a dinosaur, and all the living spirits, amobas, algae, and fungus that swam, which the water bred from itself, and all the winged birds, pterodactyls, from themselves. And the Elohim Anunnaki saw that things that this way were agreeable. And the Elohim Anunnaki put their blessings on them, all by saying procreate on them, by saying procreate and multiply, and refill the waters. And the seas and the birds are to multiply in the planet Earth. And it was dust period, and the 5th day of another 7,000 years was over. The breeding period of life forms. The ground, after the kind or the species. This Adamah, again, is the earthling, the people of the ground who were made after their species or kind. And the 10th being used is meaning his species. They're also mentioned in El's Holy Quran in 23:45, where it says, and surely he created the pairs forgetful male and second pair female. And surely he created the pairs, forgetful male, Adam, and the second part female, Eve. Where surely he created the pairs, forgetful male, and the second part female. The Quran of the Mohammedans put it in singular form. And they leave out the fact that in the Torah, from where they copied this story, the Hebrew makes it clear that they're in Genesis 5:2. He created them male and female and blessed them. And he named them mankind when they created. He blessed them and called their name Adam. The words there and them is plural, not dual. It is talking about the group of people which were Adamites or Kadmonites, which is a tribal name. And there were Bahama of Genesis 1:25. Which were the beasts of the outer field. When you go down to Genesis 1:26, you will see that this as a mankind human beings, which is simply the cloning of the Homo sapiens. Where it says, and Elohim God said, let us make Adamites, Homo sapiens, falsely translated as man, in our image, after our likeness, and let them not like them, not him, have dominion over the fish of the sea. This quote is making it clear that this is speaking about the cloning of Homo sapiens. Notice that after the Elohim made or fashioned the Adamites, it says, and let them have dominion, which is rulership over the dog, which has been translated as fish. But the root gives you daga, meaning multiplication of lichen, things in the sea. This is saying that the Adamites were here to rule the reptilians of the sea. I need to say that again. The Adamites. This is saying that Adamites were here to rule the reptilians of the sea. The deity Dagon, the name Da, is the first part of the Philistine deity Dagon, as found in Judges 16:23. Judges 16:23. Now the rulers of the Philistines assembled to offer a great sacrifice to Dagon, their god, and to celebrate, saying, our God has delivered Samson, our enemy, into our hands. And I Samuel 5:2-4. Oh, 5:24. 5. Then they carried the ark into Dagon temple and set it beside Dagon. When the people of Ashad rose early the next day, there was Dagon fallen on his face on the ground before the ark of the Lord. They took Dagon and put him back in his place. But the following morning, when they rose, there was Dagon fallen on his face on the ground before the ark of the Lord. His head and his hands had been broken off, and they were lying on the threshold. Only his body remained. The fishman, another name for Dagon, is Leviathan. As mentioned in Job 41:1, can you pull in Leviathan with a fish hook or a tie down its tongue with a rope? I think I can. Which describes the reptilian and how he is worshipped by the seed of Enosh. Also, the Leviathan from the Aramaic Hebrew means sea monster. Dragoon from the root word meaning to unite, to remain. Leviathan is mentioned in Psalms 104:26. There the ships go to and fro, and Leviathan which you form to frolic there. And Psalm 74:14. It was you who crushed the heads of the Leviathan and gave it as food to the creatures of the desert. But I will always hope and will add to all you praise. My mouth will tell about your righteousness and of your salvation all day, though I don't know its full measure. Where it speaks of breaking the head of Leviathan, which takes you back to Genesis 3:15, and I will put enmity between you and the woman, and between your offspring and hers. He will crush your head, and you will strike his heel. Who is the seed of the woman? He shall bruise your head, and you shall bruise his head. In reference to the serpent and his seed, and how the seed of Eve would bruise the serpent's head, as in breaking the head of Leviathan. The person serpent and the word for serpent there is Nakash, the same as Genesis 3:1. For the devil, there are the Luciferians as mentioned in Isaiah 14:12. You have fallen from heaven, morning star, son of the dawn. You have been cast down to the earth. You who once laid low the nations. Where it states, art thou fallen from the heaven, O Lucifer, Hallel, son of the morning? How art thou cut down to the ground? Meaning the planet earth, which is this weakened all nations. In verse 13, well, you have tells you how he wanted to be above the throne of the stars of El, which would be above all the other Elohim or Anunnaki. The 13th verse is why 13 is considered a bad lucky number to many. So, as Genesis 1:26 declares that this man, Adam, to be created in the image and after the likeness of the Elohim, is Homo sapien or Adamite, because it uses the pronoun said amongst each other. Let the planet Earth bring forth living spirits from itself, non-speaking mammals and reptiles also living on the planet Earth. And this happened. And the Elohim Anunnaki made to evolute all the living animals that appeared on the planet Earth, bred from themselves, and non-speaking mammals bred from themselves, and all the creeping things upon the ground, planet Earth, bred from themselves. And the Elohim Anunnaki saw that things this way were agreeable. Notice from the quotes above, when it speaks about creation, the Elohim Anunnaki saw that things were agreeable, but when it comes to the creation of the earthling, where are the Adamites? They did not say that it was agreeable. And the Elohim Anunnaki said amongst themselves, now let's breed by cloning people. Lulu Amalu, a Homo sapien of this planet Earth, Adamites, looking just like ourselves. Anunnaki and Demuth acting like ourselves. And we will give them rulership over the fish of the sea and the birds of the skies, and over all the non-speaking mammals and all the creeping things that creep upon the planet Earth. In the quote below, Genesis 1:27, the Elohim Anunnaki, Ninti, procreated Homo sapiens, first called Nubians, then became Nubians of the Adamites from the Homo erectus, which had 6 ether hair, and the original Anunnaki with 9 ether hair. 2 looked like herself, using her own divine seed. Ninti giving Nubians 9 ether and acting like herself. The Anunnaki procreated them into one they called Adam, called also Quadman or Zakar, who had 8 ether, and Nakaba, called also Hawa or Eve, who had 9 ether. So in Genesis 1:27, when they speak about the cloning or procreation of Adamites, You know it was plural because the word used in athum, meaning them, in plural, not dual. There is a point that in the beginning that is being ignored in the Torah, which refers to the human as the Adam, a common term defining a certain species, which is homo from the Latin meaning man, and sapien from the Latin sapere meaning wise, which comes from the same root as serapin and serpent, called by the Anunnaki Lulu, which is ancient Syriac meaning ugly, deformed. This was grafted from the cuneiform. And Amalu means do, worker, also from the Syriac tick into the Arabic. Both words can be found in the Arabic Hebrew as well, and was the cuneiform expression Lulu, Amalu, primitive worker, or foul, ugly, doer, a name given to a person, Adam, which is Kadmon by the Elohim Anunnaki. In Genesis 2:19, how you have fallen from heaven, morning star, son of the dawn. You have been cast down to the earth. You who once laid low the nations. The word Adam being used in the Aramaic Hebrew, but you know is referring to Quadma, because they were used tense. He, which is pronoun, whereas in the beginning of the same quote it says out of the ground, and the word used in there is meaning of the ground, or earthling from the same root, Adam. This are the earthling as used in Genesis 1:25. There it says everything that creepeth upon the ground. Them, and it is plural form, not singular form, which shows that it's not talking about the Elohim fashioning Quadmon. But again, I make note that it is in the plural form using them, meaning the Adamites, the Lulu Amalu. Now in Genesis 3:17, it is speaking about Quadmon, where it says, then to Adam, he said, because you have heeded the voice